Hi, it's Etharal here, and today we are back with our Stellaris Twilight of the Imperium cosmetic mod, where we have been playing as the Tau Empire, looking to try and expand into this new sector of space. We've been steadily moving over the last few episodes at an increasing rate. Do tend to find that in these games, something does happen, things start quite slowly and then they begin to speed up exponentially, particularly during this phase of the game, which we're very much in the colonization phase. We're outside of the exploration phase, where you're just sort of learning about the area, trying to pick what planets can be best for yourself, and we're now very much moving into the phase of, okay, we know what planets are around us, we know what we want to be going for, and we are going to try and expand to those planets. So that is what I have been doing. I've moved things ahead a little bit, and I have managed to get some technology which has increased my borders by plus 20%, so you can see here that things are definitely growing, and there's a lot of potential for expansion now. We've managed to bring in an extra couple of planets and such in our there we go, speak of the devil, there is the technology that comes up, so you can see how much it has increased our borders, which is a nice thing to be able to do. It should be able to then move our borders a little bit further around and be able to pull in some extra technology, and in particular energy credits. I know obviously my energy credits, it does say up in the top left, or well, not top left, but reasonably top left, it does say that I'm on a plus 17 at the minute, which is a good amount, but it is something that it could change at any minute. That is something that could be reduced quite considerably, and that is, you know, not something that ideally I want to have happen. I want to try and expand and continue to do that and build that buffer, such as with my minerals, where I'm bringing in, you know, 119,000. I've got plenty of minerals. That's never going to run out for me or anything like that, which is great. And I have actually donated some energy credits and some of my minerals to my two sectors as well, to hopefully give them a little bit of a boost and see how that affects them. Although there is something that you will see in the bottom right corner with the sectors there, that the Racer Prime is now at 5 planets that it has, so it has grown really nicely. It is a good solid sector, and I think it's something that we may need to look at starting to set up a third sector. As the number of planets you have, as that does increase, it allows you to be able to have extra sectors. I think I can have sort of 4 or 5, something like that. So what I've been aiming to do is to try and send my science ships up to this northwestern area to try and find a few planets maybe near each other that we have technologies to be able to colonize, so that we can turn to them and say, okay, these are the planets we want. We're going to set up a new sector up there, which that new sector will then be able to bring in a lot more funding for us without increasing the power of the Ricer sector. My aim for this is going to be to try and keep all of these sectors as about even as I can, roughly same sort of size as me, so probably keep them about 5 planets. I'll see how that goes. I may need to expand ever so slightly on that model, but hopefully that's something that I won't need to do too much. That's something that'll probably come along the line. That'll be more, you know, when we're starting to, though everywhere's been colonized, and with going into sort of the end game of the 4X sort of genre, where you're basically, to expand, you're going to have to declare war on other people and exterminate them, which is obviously as anybody who, you know, plays the 4X genre will know, that is the final X. Exterminate. It's explore, expand, something, and then exterminate. I can never remember what the third one is though. But here you can just see that we are moving our fleet around. You will notice that our fleet since the last game has pretty much doubled in strength. It is a lot better sector than it, sorry, not sector, it's a lot better fleet than it was originally. It is quite considerable amount larger, and just generally it is more powerful, which is a very, very good thing to have, and that is what is going to pretty much defend ourselves from any of the Eldar if they were to attack us. There is very much a Cold War going on between us and them. They've declared us as rivals, I believe. I've declared them as one of my rivals as well, and they are somebody who will potentially be our first focus, although they are about equivalent in power to us. So while they might be our first focus, I'm not too sure on it. I would ideally like to try and go maybe against a smaller person first, to be able to build up my power and know that I'm going to be able to safely win and move against them, and then turn and use all of that might to then move against the Eldar, which would be the smarter way of doing things. It's something that's going to take a little bit longer though, and I'm not too sure whether there are any people that are nearby who are actually weaker than us. We certainly do seem to have quite a large landmass, so there is that advantage certainly, but whether there are any which we could succeed in attacking, well, that's the bit I'm not too sure on, basically, and we will have to test. Here you can just see we are expanding our colonies. We are hoping to move them into these other lands. This is something that is going to be quite slow moving, and this is the other sector, the Solemnus sector, that we are wanting to expand it a little bit further and be able to bring it into the fold and bring up to the point of the Risa sector as well, is certainly the aim for this one. And then we've got our northwestern and our southern sectors, which are roughly equal and about the same power as our main sector, which is the one that we control as well. And then here you can just see that we are expanding further and further out. We are starting to hit the tip of this sector, so we are getting pretty close to having explored as much as we really can, to be honest. And so I think the science ships that I have currently at the minute, we are probably going to see a drop in them, as well they are going to become less useful when we have actually explored everything that we need to explore. We will obviously send them out on the situational things that they can move on to as we're going, but that is going to be more of an afterthought than anything, and we'll see how that does go, as it does seem like something's happened. I don't know whether it's been with the update to the game and how that's sort of working alongside the mod, but you will notice on a lot of these planets, compared to how we were at the beginning, the stellar shrines seem to have been drastically reduced. We're not really finding planets or solar systems even that have just hundreds of them lying around. In fact, I haven't actually seen any in a very long time on any sector, so that might just be because they are an early game thing, like with this planet where there is way too many, and then it kind of phases out as it becomes less important, I guess, in the later one, in sort of the later phases of the game, or whether that is something that has just been stopped because of how the mod is reacting to the new update. If anybody does know though, please do be sure to let me know in the comments. I'll always be interested to find out exactly where they have gone. They were a nice boost to research and things, not massively important, but still nice nonetheless. And so here, just going to continue to improve our actual fleet, build another large cruiser class to that. We are mainly focusing on large ships rather than on smaller fast ones with maybe a bit better evasion and things like that and just mass numbers. We're wanting to go for more of the heavy hitting capital fleet. I would like to see just how big a ship we can get. I am not 100% sure. I'm not normally a actual combat guy. I much prefer to do sort of things with technological victories and ascendancy victories and things like that, but in this game I'm feeling like it's a case we are still going to certainly need that military. If anybody's ever played Galactic Civilizations, those games I tend to play without really having any military whatsoever, and it's sort of does actually tend to bite me a lot in the backside when somebody who is stronger than me in terms of military decides that they want my planets and I have to try and rush to actually build everything, which is not something that's needing to happen here, hopefully, and I'm going to aim to prevent any of that happening by building as big a fleet as I possibly can, and then taking that fleet and doing basically what the AI has done to me in these games before. I'm going to do it to the AI, so I feel sorry for this AI in this game, but it's just the time for the AI to actually pay. We'll just mention as well that if you do enjoy this series or any others, please do be sure to subscribe. Obviously, don't want you to miss out on any of the content that I do make, because I'm putting videos out as regular as ever. So do be sure to hit that subscribe button, and then you will get first notification of any content coming out. So here we can see, though, for the game that I'm just sort of jumping around. I'm having a bit of a look at these planets and trying to decide what's going to be a good one to sort of move on to. I've colonized this new world here, and we'll move that onto the Solemnus sector, which, as you can see there, is up to 4 planets now. So they are pretty much on par, and we would really like to get our colonies going a little bit faster as well, maybe get a few more of them. I would really need for that one though to get some colonization technology, which is something that is taking quite a while to do. And here you can see that, as I mentioned earlier on about the whole plus 17 with the energy credits there, if you look in the top left, I am now actually -7 from setting up colonies and everything, so I need to try and balance that out. Luckily, with the border expansion, despite the fact that I have here developed quite a lot of new planets, I am unfortunately at a point, sorry, not new planets, new mining outposts, and that has been a heavy drain on my resources as well, which is less than ideal, to be honest, but that is something that thankfully, because of the increase in our borders, there are going to be more options for us to be able to move into some different planets, which will hopefully have some extra energy credits there, as you can see, and then bring them into the fold as well. So we are basically going to be producing more money for ourselves. And here you can see we are looking at expanding further. We are having a slight problem still with the influence. Influence is something that is making a slow progress. We are better than the 0 and +1 that we were having a few episodes ago. We're back up to +3, which is still not a massive amount, but it is certainly better than it was. Well, 3 times or infinite better, depending on which one of those you're comparing it to. However, it's still moving quite slowly, and it is very much a thing that is hampering our colonial expansion at the minute, as we quite simply cannot support the new colonies and new ships as regularly as we would like. Although the plans that we do have, we are managing to certainly upgrade them pretty quickly, as we, as you can see there, have got a few new ones to be able to remove some of the problem tiles to be able to get extra land, which is very good in sort of situation for us, as it means that we can make our planets even more productive than they already are, which, spot on, is exactly what we need. As if it is going to be a case that things are getting slowed down in terms of new planets, making the old planets a little bit better, not going to be a bad idea. And so here we are just going to look at trying to pull this the fleet together. I've realised that this fleet, when I went to go and send it, for some reason the other ships haven't actually been brought into it. So there we go, we have now got a fleet at just shy of 3,000 strength, so it is a good solid fleet. It could be a little bit stronger, but not the end of the world. And so we are going to send them up to the northern area of this sector with the intention of moving them through to clean out any AI and enemies that are sitting there preventing us exploring, so that way we can then be able to explore to these other planets and be able to get them surveyed for future colonization attempts. We'll have to keep tabs though on the Eldar. They are the closest to this area of the sort of space that we're looking at moving into, and they are getting dangerous close, as they do sort of, obviously they are going to be expanding as well, and they could be getting dangerous close to potentially moving into that area that is the area that we are wanting to move into, which we are not going to want to let them do. We're going to try and cut them off here and take the land before they take it, which will just build up that bit of safety buffer for us there, basically. Now here you can see that we are now going to look at expanding into a new sector. There is, between Denmark and Col, there is quite a few planets, although they are planets that we can't actually expand to ourselves just yet, as they are planets that we don't have the technology to be able to colonize, which not brilliant, but the aim is that we will hopefully be able to get those colony technologies sooner rather than later, and then from those technologies we will actually be able to expand our lands further and be able to colonize between those, and then that, I believe, will be the excellent situation for a new sector. That's going to be the third sector that we will be, fingers crossed, setting up in the very near future. And that is going to then just give us, again, another little bit of a bonus. Here you can see my fleet, though, coming in. I'm just going to have a bit of a look and see what they're doing at, 2,950 strength. They really are just, blowing through these AIs. They're not really a threat anymore. They're just more of an annoyance more than anything. And so we are going to get a survey ship ready to basically come in and be able to do all the researching and surveying of this area and see how all of that goes. So pull them back to that and do all of the research and then set it up to survey as well after that, while the fleet is going to move on further on to another place, which then, if they can attack some ones as well, that will put us in a better position to be able to get some more surveying, which is pretty much the last couple of surveys to be able to do, really, as we are expanding out. As I mentioned earlier, we are in a problem now where we're not going to really have much area to expand into. We are really right up against the edge of the sector in terms of what we know about. So I'm going to pretty much leave it there for today. It will be something, though, in the next couple of episodes. We're going to see how this third sector does go and see how our expansion into the far northwestern edge of the sector. So be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on that. Will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, do be sure to check out any of my other videos as well. If you did enjoy this one, I release videos every single day. Well, not every single day, but near enough. I'm aiming to get them out every single day if I am able to, and wouldn't want you to miss any of them there. So thank you very much. I've been Etharal here for EGen, and I shall see you next time.